All right, so the difference between a subdomain and a bounded context, in one sense, they're just totally different things. But they get confused a lot because they closely correspond to each other. So one way I've heard it described is that the subdomain is kind of a problem space concept and the bounded context is a solution space context. In other words, the subdomain is describing something about the way you've chosen to break down your business or the whatever the domain activity is. Whereas the bounded context describes how the software and the software development has been broken down. Now, we would like those two things to correspond. So a lot of times we find that they look a lot alike. One analogy that I tried on some people once that seemed to help was if you have a room that has wall-to-wall carpeting, you have a floor in that room and you have a carpet in that room, and they have exactly the same shape and size. And yet no one gets confused and says, well, I don't understand the difference between a floor and a carpet. That is a case where someone took a carpet and they shaped it to fit the floor. So that would be like a bounded context that had been shaped to fit the subdomain. On the other hand, if you said, well, I'm going on the cheap, I'm going to take an old used piece of carpet and put it in this room, it might not exactly fit. You might have a little gap which you could hide under a table, where the carpet had been cut in a way that wasn't good for this room. Maybe there's a part where it's a little too big, you could try to cut it off or maybe just fold it under, hide it with some more furniture. That's like a legacy system after the business has changed a bit or the way we want to do the business has changed a bit. So really, they're just two different things, but it does get confusing because in a relatively fresh solution, they tend to correspond very closely.